What's going on, everybody? This be your boy DJ Anonymous with sportsbizmusic, the podcast, episode 45, and I got a special guest on the show today. Well, tonight, I got my boy Reco Charity. What's going on with you, man?
What's up, man? How you?
Good, man. This hot. It's nighttime in Miami. It's still hot.
That's something to do it for you.
Yeah, man. But for the people that don't know, about you, like, just introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are.
So I'm an attorney from Richmond, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up out there. Went to undergrad at Virginia Tech. Did law school at Georgetown. Now I'm in New York. I work for one of the large law firms out here. Pretty much just do everything in terms of corporate law. A lot of buying and selling companies. We call it M&A, mergers and acquisitions. I also work with a whole bunch of entrepreneurs and nonprofits and just everything that kind of just stretches the gambit of corporate law and business and transactional law. So pretty much just touch all of that and work on a whole bunch of contracts and over different big companies and smaller companies. So kind of what my practice is like, and that's kind of what I'm doing now, and also just a whole bunch of community service and philanthropic things, and just continue to try to grow my craft.
Okay, that's what's up, man. So let's start way at the beginning of your journey. I'm talking about when you was younger. Have you always wanted to be a lawyer?
My journey to being a lawyer was just was an interesting one. So I grew up in one of those households where your mom tells you can do whatever you want to do,
mm-hmm.
but I think it was a gift and a curse because coming up, I didn't really know what was out there. I didn't know what my options were. You turn on the TV, you see basketball players, you see ballers, you see music, you see rappers, you see you see actors and you see doctors and lawyers and you see the roles they're playing. Mm-hmm. So I was I got 5 things I can be. I don't know how I don't know how my ability is going to be. So maybe I can cross off the league. I don't really have all those bars, so I might not be a rapper. I'm not going to go the science route, being a doctor. So lawyer was kind of where I felt. It's kind of where I felt in the grand scheme of things. And then as a kid, I was okay, well, process of elimination. I want to be a lawyer, and I want to one company. So that was my thing. It was I'm gonna go off. I'm a lawyer, and I'm also running some companies. Didn't know what kind of companies I wanted to run. The lawyer thing was the player, so kind of just took that route and ran with it, and then. Self-fulfilling prophecy. I became a lawyer and I work with companies. So
cause as young kids, around middle school, high school, probably between 13 and 17 years old, we get an idea of what we want to do for the rest of our life. What was that moment when you was that exact moment you was I want to be a lawyer. I want to help people and work for companies and just build.
Man, I'd be lying if I told you it was an exact moment. I honestly started saying lawyer because people say, what do you want to do with your life? And, you had to give them an answer. But it was just the quickest thing that rolled off the top of my tongue. And then it just became something that I just kind of stuck with and ran with. So I didn't know any lawyers coming up at all. I ended up doing this program in high school, this debate team. And I met the Commonwealth attorney in Richmond. That was the first lawyer I ever met. And we just talked. We just rapped about everything for a while. And I was you know what? You're the black person I know that's not struggling. So I want to be like you. Mm-hmm. I want to go your route because I don't want to struggle financially anymore. So let's figure out what you did and kind of solidify being a lawyer. So maybe that was in high school. That program was when I realized that he's different from the other people I know. This black guy, he's cool. He really has money. He's not really worried about money. Not worried about financial stability. Not worried about what it's doing. And that was all I was exposed to. I was okay, everything was how do you make more money? This guy wasn't worried about money. And I was I need to be in a space where money isn't my main concern. And from what I saw, that was law. So that's kind of how I wanted to just jump into that area. Then doing it, I realized that it's bigger than money. I have gotten to a point where I don't think about how to afford things anymore. But I got to a point where it's now, how do I invest back into my community? How do I take this money? How do I grow it into my own personal financial investments so I can invest back in my community? How do I make sure that no other kid that's trying to decide what they want to do with life, what he or she wants to do with life, how can I make sure that they know at least one lawyer or know any professionals in my network? And that's kind of what my thoughts are today. It's like making sure I'm there in that capacity. So.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Because, like, you know, it's something that I always, you know, talk about, like, heavily. Like, 26, you know, it's kind of strange, you know, when you was, like, yesterday you was just 16 years old. Now you're 26, 27, 28 years old. And, like, you still young, but you still have a whole generation behind you, a whole, like, 5, 6, 7, you know, 8-year-olds, like, behind you. And, like, you always want to, you know, not only please yourself and complete the goals that you want to do, but you also want to be that example of, like, how you went to the lawyer, you want to do the same thing for a kid that's coming up, that they're gonna look at you like, wow, like Mr. Charity, like he's doing his thing, and he come from where I come from, and just by seeing him just escalating and his journey, is like, I can do that too, you know, because I always felt like in our community, especially, you know, for us black folks, like, it's like, especially when it comes to, like, investments, like, we all not really smart, you know, when it comes to that. But I just feel like, you know, it's never too late to learn, you know, whether you 50 years old or you're 18 years old going to college, you know, it's never too late to learn about, you know, different stuff, like especially investments and just bettering yourself, you know, for the future.
Exactly. And I mean, I guess just I'll piggyback off what you said about that next generation. I think that's kind of like my big point these days, is like focusing on how to, like, make sure that they're in a better situation than I was. Actually, earlier this year, I'm still really active back in Richmond. Me and the Richmond Public Schools Foundation got together and we put together a scholarship. It's actually, like, my scholarship is named Reco Charity.
That's what's up, man.
And it's given to 2 seniors at my old high school. And it's just keep the ball rolling. So it's like, okay, like, we leave here, go do something, better yourself, like, learn these skills, and then come back and be able to pull the next person. So it's an annual thing, but it's also, my goal is, like, so we gave it to 2 students this year. My goal is to continue to, like, work with them. I've talked to both of them, like, recently. Continue to work with them. They graduate, we pick up. It's like, I'm doing it, they're doing it. We're picking up more students, and then every time it's just a cycle. And then by the end of the day, we pick up the whole school, pick up the whole community. Everybody in Richmond have some type of scholarship where it's like, we're gonna leave. We're gonna leave, we're gonna get out of this environment, we're gonna go learn some stuff, but then we're gonna come back and make sure we pull the next person out. And I think that's the biggest thing we can do right now, especially being in these positions where it's like, we understand things like investing, we understand things like, okay, there's a bigger picture to this whole thing versus just, like, staying in this one spot for the rest of your life. So
exactly.
it's like getting that information and coming back and, like, bridging that gap to bring those folks along too.
Yeah, exactly, man. So, like, before I get into, like, the college, you know, the college life, what was it like growing up in Richmond, Virginia?
Richmond's an interesting type of place. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's fairly similar to a lot of places, though. I mean, it was definitely a culture. I mean, Richmond was an interesting place, in being that everybody in my side of town was, like, very similarly situated. Like, we all kind of lived a similar life, so it wasn't like everybody was worrying about money. Nobody had enough money, so it wasn't abnormal. It wasn't abnormal for, like, you know, your uncle to live with your grandmother, your aunt to live with your grandmother. There'd be, like, 10 people in the house. It's not abnormal. Everybody was living that way. Everybody was in their grandmother's house.
Yeah. I think that's just a Southern thing, honestly. Like, I just feel like I think it's just a Southern thing.
Like, it was just normal, just being around, like, a community of just black people. It was like, I mean, yeah, your mom struggled, but, like, everybody's mom struggled.
Yeah.
It wasn't until you get out of that environment and you realize that other people aren't living this way. And that's kind of when you just like, okay, well, this is kind of how I was conditioned to live. This is kind of how things look for me. This is not how I look for them. So it's like, how do I go back and tell my community that we can live in a better way than this? We don't have to, like... struggle in this way. We don't have to just like, I don't know, like cram like 10 people in a 3-bedroom house. We don't have to do that. Like it's other ways to do it if we get financially smart about our business. But I guess back to Richmond, it was just everybody. My whole neighborhood was black. Like I mean, black and Hispanic. We had some Hispanic folks, but it was mainly black. You go down the road like maybe 30 minutes out to the county. That's where all the like everybody else was at. Later, I realized that like a lot of them didn't come across that bridge to the south side because it was all black. So a lot of like, and I didn't discover that until I went to college. I had a conversation with a few of my like peers there that were also from like the county outside of Richmond that never ventured into Richmond. We kind of talked about that a little bit, understanding their experience and why they never came into our side of town. Probably because it was all black and because it was black and Hispanic. So it was just a different environment, different from like DC, different from Blacksburg where I went to undergrad, different from New York. It was just a whole different environment.
Well, you know, I always got to ask a Virginian this question: like, do y'all consider yourself the North, or y'all consider yourself like the South? Because I
knew you were going to ask that question. I consider Virginia the South.
Yeah, because the reason why I asked, because you know, in hip hop, you know, especially as a DJ, like I met a lot of, not a lot of, but like quite a few of artists from Virginia, and some have different beliefs. Some say I'm not the South, or I'm not the North, I'm more like Mid-East. Some say I'm from the South. So it's just like, you know, I'm a history geek, so I'm just like, hey, Virginia to me is the South because, you know, this ain't no secret. Like, it was slaves from Virginia on down to like the deep South and stuff. And now I don't know if it's because of time, like how time has changed, but like, you know, most people just say, you know, us folk is just in between, you know. So.
Nah, you said Mid-East. Mid-East isn't a thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what? That don't make no sense.
I mean, I will say folks from the South that I meet try to play Virginia and say Virginia is not part of the South, but it's cool. But yeah, back to history. Virginia was a part of the Confederacy. I mean, it's not a proud history, but it's a fact.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's South. It's where the South starts. So I mean, you can't really exclude it from being the South. I mean, people in Virginia kind of like divide Northern Virginia and call that DC because, you know, it kind of is DC. But, I mean, Virginia's still the South. In my mind, Virginia's the South.
I mean, we get that us Floridians, like especially from South Florida, you know, they say that they don't consider us like the deep South, but they don't realize like when you actually come down to Florida, like Florida is like, you have the city, you have the suburbs, and you have the country. So it's just like, it's just blended. But like, I remember my history teacher when I was in high school, he's from New York. You know, a lot of New Yorkers in Boston, you know, like a lot of people from the East Coast come down to the South. And he was saying like, you know, back in the days, like Miami was like Alabama with just beaches. But, you know, over time it developed and, you know, a lot of, you know, we had a lot of people from the Caribbean. Like I'm Caribbean descent, so like my folks is from like the Bahamas and stuff. So I kind of get that at times, but like I always tell people like when I get outside the South, like when I went to LA, they was like you from the South? I said yeah, I'm from Miami, Florida, and they was like it's just something about your accent that's just different. So we still, I tell people all the time like it's just the same mentality, you know, it's the same stuff, you know. It's just, I don't know, I guess time has changed. I don't know what it is, but now we in college. My question is, why did you pick Virginia Tech?
I actually just did a speaking engagement, and they asked me the same question. Is like, how did you go about picking college? And I was honest with them. I was like, I didn't have a computer back in the day. Virginia Tech had a paper application. I printed out the paper application, filled it out, and mailed it off, and I was able to do that without having a computer. So that's kind of how Virginia Tech became the school I went to. It was just the easiest to apply for it. Like I worked, so like back in those times, I had 2 jobs, and I was going to school, and I had like just a whole bunch of stuff going on. I didn't have time to like go find. I mean, I could have made time in retrospect, But like in those time periods, like, yo, I gotta like go to work. I gotta do all this other stuff. I don't have time to go to the public library to like do these college applications. I tried. Like I went and I sat down and do a